Yeah, as I told, OOPS is nothing but object oriented language. It is a programming style based on objects and classes. Okay, we can say Java is a pure object oriented language, as almost everything is written inside a class. Okay, and using that class we can create an objects and do, okay, all the operations we will do using objects and classes. So we can say Java is purely an object oriented language. Okay, then in Java, in OOPS concepts, we have four main principles, which is encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. Okay, these are the four principles. One is encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction. Today we'll discuss about the encapsulation, first principle. Okay, encapsulation is nothing but the process of wrapping or binding both data members and methods. Okay, wrapping or binding data members and methods together in a single unit or single class, we call that as encapsulation. Okay, encapsulation means wrapping data and methods together in a single unit and restricting direct access to the data. Okay, we call this as encapsulation. Okay, and what is the main use of encapsulation means data hiding or data security or data privacy. Okay, this is the main agenda or main use of encapsulation. Okay, we can hide the data, or we can do also data security or data privacy. Okay, this is the use of encapsulation. And like as I told, encapsulation, yeah, main use is to hide the data, right? Like how can we hide the data? Okay, I explained about one concept, modifiers. In that we have access modifiers, in that we have private keyword, right? Okay, if we use the private keyword, it can be accessed only within the class, right? So for the data members or methods, if we use the private keyword, it can be accessed only the it can be accessed only within the class, so that uh, by by giving the private keyword we can hide the data. So I'm not sharing the screen still. When the code when I will give an example, then I will share the screen. Okay, yeah, by using that private keyword we can hide the data. Okay, if we use that private keyword we can access only within the class. Okay, this is how we can hide the data using private keyword. Okay, then if we are telling, like, if we use that private keyword we can access only within the class, right? If we want to use outside the class those data members and methods, if we want to use outside the class, like how can we access them means, in Java we have getters and setters methods. Okay, we have getters and setters method, so that outside the class we can access those private data members or methods. Okay, those getter methods are used to access or read the data. Setters methods are used to write or modify the data. Okay, this is about encapsulation. Okay, I will give an example so that you can understand easily how can we hide, what is encapsulation, how can we hide the data, and if we hide the data outside a class, how can we access. Okay, I will explain with an examples. So first, theoretically this is about encapsulation. Okay, encapsulation is nothing but the process of wrapping or binding data members and methods together in a single class or single unit. We call that process as encapsulation. Okay, in the previous examples we are wrapping both data members and methods together in a single class, right? That is what encapsulation means. Okay, and encapsulation's main use is data security or data hiding or data privacy. This is the main use of encapsulation. We can hide the data and we can restrict direct access to the data. Okay, like how means using private keyword for the data members we can hide the data. Okay, if we give the private keyword it can be accessed only within the class. You guys know that, right? If you use the private keyword it can be accessed only within the class. Like that we can hide the data. Okay, we can restrict direct access to the data. Now if we want to access outside the class, okay, we have getter method and setter methods. Okay, getter method are used to read or access the data, setter methods are used to write or modify the data. Okay, this is about encapsulation. Okay, and we have some difference between that getter method and setter method. I will explain that. Getter methods are used to, as I told, used to read or access the data, whereas setter methods are used to write or modify the data. Okay, and this is the first difference. And the second difference is getter methods return type must be the same as data type of variable. Okay, whatever the data members or variables data type is there, getters methods, okay, getter method return type has to be same. Okay, that one you have to remember. Okay, return type, getters getter methods return type must be same as data type of variable, whereas setter methods return type should be void. Okay, this is the second difference. Like return type has to be same as data type of variable, means setter methods return type should be void. Okay, this is the second difference. And the third difference is getter methods. In getter methods, arguments are optional. Okay, you know that, you know about arguments, right? Arguments are parameters. So in getter methods, arguments are optional. Okay, in setter methods, arguments are mandatory. Okay, in exam, like I'll give an example so that you can understand why in getter methods arguments are optional, why in setter methods are mandatory. I will explain that. Okay, okay, this is about encapsulation. Okay, the process of wrapping or binding data members and methods together in a single class, we call that process as encapsulation. Okay, now I'll give an example so that you can understand easily about what is encapsulation, how can we hide the data, and outside a class how can we access by using those getters and getter and setter methods. I will explain now. Okay, with examples, I'll give two examples so that you can understand properly. I'll share my screen. Just tell me if you can see this Eclipse ID. Yeah, you guys can see right now Eclipse ID. Just tell me. Is my screen is visible now? Guys, respond. Is Eclipse ID is visible to you? Yeah. See here, I've created one package with the name of Oops Encapsulation. In that I've created one class name with the name of student. Okay, and here I will declare two data members. One is string name and the another one is int age. Okay, and I will make both data members as private. This is the main use of encapsulation, right? To hide the data. So here I've created two data. Here I've created two data members and I've given those data members as private so that it can be accessed only within the class. Okay, in student class only we can access those data members. Yeah, here make variables private. Here I am doing variables as private. Okay, in the second step, if you want to access these data members outside a class, what I told, we have to use those getters and setters method, right? So now I will create getter and setter methods. Okay, if you want, you can manually you can write, or else if you go here, here we have an option like generate getters and setters methods, so that like that also you can create, or you can manually you can create. Okay, I will create manually. Like how can we create a method using public return type? Sorry, for getter method, what I told, return type has to be same as variable, right? So first I am creating a method for this name, so I'm using that return type as string, and I'm okay. Here I've created one method with the name of get name, and the return type is string, because for this variable I'm creating the method. So as I told, getter method's return type has to be same as variable, right? So here string. So as I told, for method other than void, if you are using any other data type, we have to return the it. So for that reason only it is giving this compile time. So error it is giving, so I have to return that. So here I will return name. Okay, that's it. This is how we can create a getter method. Okay, I created a getter method with the name of get name, and the return type is string, and I'm returning that. Okay, and see here arguments are optional. If you want, you can pass the arguments, or else it is optional. See here I created public getter method. Now I'll create setter method for string name. Okay, so how can we create method using public, and for setter methods, as I told, return type has to be void, and the method name is set name. And as I told, for setter methods arguments are optional, because to modify we need arguments. Okay, so in the setter method arguments are mandatory, so I will pass one argument which is string name. Okay, and I will return that name. As I told, this refers to current object, so this name equal to name. Okay, here I have created public setter method. Okay, that's it. For string name I have created getter method and setter method. For int age also we have to create now. Okay, first I have created two data members, and I have given those data members as private, so that it can be accessed only within the class. Okay, if we want to access those data members outside a class, as I told, we want getter method and setter methods. Say I have created for string name, I have created here getter method and setter method. Now for int age I will create getter and setter method. Public int, I am creating getter method. So for getter method return type has to be same as variable, so I am here taking as int, and I will name the method as get age, and I have to return something which is return age. Okay, then I will create setter method for int age, and the return type is void, and the name is method name is set age, and I have to pass argument, because for setter methods arguments are optional, and I will return. And here I will use some like condition, like if age is greater than 0 only, I have to return that age. Like that I'm just giving one condition for validation, that's it. Okay, for validation I'm giving some method, that's it. Okay, here I have created getter method for int age. Here I have created setter method for int age, and I am using one condition, like if age is greater than 0 only, that age has to be like initialized. Okay, see, this is how we can make the data members as private. To access those data members outside a class, here we have created getter method and setter methods for both data members. Okay, now outside the class, okay, outside the class we'll create an object for that, and let's see how it will work. Okay, here I've created one class with the name of student mine. Here it is an outside class, right? This is a different class, right? So in this class, let's try to access those data members using that getter method and setter methods. Okay, now I have to create an object for student class, because in that student class we have those data members and the getter methods and setter methods. So I have to create an object for student one reference name equal to new keyword and student constructor. See, here I have created an object for student. Now in the previous examples, we are directly with that reference name we are calling those data members, right? Now let's see it will work or not. Yeah, here now with that reference name, if I call those data members, we can't access that directly. Okay, see in the previous examples with that reference name, those data members I'm accessing directly, but here we can't access that directly because those data members we are made as private, right? So we can't access that directly. Okay, for that only we have created getters and setter methods, right? With that only we have to access. Okay, we can't access those data members directly because we made that data members as private. Okay, we can't access those data members directly. For that we have created getter method and setter methods. From that we have to access those data members. Okay, first let's set the values, then we will access those methods. S1 dot, we have set name method. In that I will set some name, Rahul, like that. And I will also set the age, set get age, sorry, set age, I'm just leaving some age. Okay, as I told, setter methods are used to modify or change the data. So using that reference name I called that method, and in that set name method I am passing one argument, so I am declaring that. And also with that reference name I am setting the age. Okay, in that set age method I am passing one argument, so I am declaring here. Okay, using that setter methods I am just modifying the data. Okay, now let's call those methods using getter method. Okay, getter methods are used to access the data. So with that reference name we will access age, and we will access name as well. S1 dot get name. Okay, so in here we are not accessing directly because it is not possible. because um, we made those data members as private. So with that getter method and setter method only, we have to access those data members. Setter methods are used to modify, getter methods are used to access the data. Okay, now if I run this, see, first the age is printing, then the name is printing. Okay, this is how the encapsulation will work. Okay, encapsulation is nothing but the process of wrapping or binding both data members and methods together in a single unit. We call that as encapsulation. So what is the use of encapsulation? Means hiding the data. Like how can we hide the data? Using private keyword. If you use a private keyword, it can be accessed to only within the class. Okay, if you want to access those data members outside the class, we want to create getter methods and setter methods. With that, we can access outside the class. Okay, this is how the encapsulation will works. Guys, up to here, if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Yes, understood, right? Just 1 second. Here it is, age. Yeah, up to here, if you have any doubts in encapsulation, you can ask me. Even I will give another example for encapsulation. From this example, you guys understood, right, how the encapsulation will hide the data, and outside the class how can we access. You understood, right? Guys, respond. Guys, respond. I will give another example. From this example, you just tell me. You understood, right? Yeah. Okay, here in this class we are accessing those data members which are present in student class. So that I am creating an object, and first using that setter methods I'm modifying, and with the getter methods I'm accessing those data members. That's it. Okay, this is about encapsulation. I'll give another example so that you can understand. See, here I've created one class with the name of bank account. Okay, here I'm creating, here I will create one data member which is double balance, and I'll make that data member as private so that it can't be accessed outside the class. If you want to access those data members, we have to use getter methods and setter methods. Okay, here I'm making private variable. 1 second. Okay, here I have created one data member and I'm making that as private. Okay, and I will create one constructor public. The constructor name has to be the same as class name, and I will pass some arguments which is double initial balance. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . In there will make some conditions like initial balance has to be greater than 0, then only the balance has to be shown. Okay, here I have created one constructor with the name of bank account, and I am passing one argument which is double initial balance. So I'm having one condition which is if initial balance is greater than 0 only, the balance has to be updated. Okay, and I will create one deposit method and withdraw method so that we can deposit and withdraw. After that, we can access that balance. Okay, we create a public method to deposit money. Okay, how can we create a method using public void method name is deposit, and I'm passing to deposit. We have to deposit some amount, right? So for that I'm making one argument as double amount, and here I will make some condition. If amount is greater than 0, if amount is greater than 0, then the balance is equal to amount. Okay, this right, this operator, assignment operator. Here I'm making the condition as if amount is greater than 0, then balance is equal to balance plus amount. That's it. Then I'm printing that balance, deposited amount with that balance. That's it. Okay, here I've created one method with the name of deposit. I'm passing one argument which is double amount, and I'm having one condition. If amount is greater than 0, then balance has to be balance plus amount, and I'm printing that. That's it. Else it should show like invalid deposit amount. Okay, this is about deposit method. Now I will create another method for withdraw. Public void withdraw. For withdraw also we have to have one constructor, right? So I will have one constructor with the name of double amount, and here I will have some condition like if amount is greater than 0 and amount is less than or equal to balance only, we can access, we can withdraw. Okay, this is the condition I'm having. Okay, when we are going to use this AND operator means if the both conditions are true, then it has to be true, means we are using that AND method. If when we use OR, in both conditions, if one conditions is true, then you have to print the true, means we use that OR. Then if the condition is true, if we want to print false, or if it is true, to print false, we use not method. Okay, here I'm using AND because if the both conditions are correct only, the withdraw has to be done. Okay, so I'm using here AND. Like condition is if amount is greater than 0 and amount is less than or equal to balance only, I can able to withdraw. Okay, this is the condition I'm having. And after that, balance minus equal to amount. Okay, and after that I will print that withdraw. amount. Else I should print a message like insufficient balance. Okay, that's it. In insufficient balance or invalid amount. Okay, see, first I've created one data member and I've made that as private, and for initial balance I've created one constructor with the name of bank account. I'm passing one argument which is double initialization, and having one condition which is if initial balance is greater than 0 only, the balance has to be initialized. Okay, here I've created constructor. After that I've created one method to deposit, and I'm passing one argument which is double amount, and I have having one method, sorry, one condition which is if amount is greater than 0, then the balance has to be initialized, and I'm printing the deposited amount, else I'm printing invalid deposit amount. And for withdraw also I've created one method with one argument which is double amount, and I'm having one condition if amount is greater than 0 and amount is less than or equal to balance only, the withdraw has to be done, and I'm printing that withdraw amount, else I'm printing like insufficient balance or account amount. Okay, like after deposit and withdraw, the balance has to be checked, right? So for that, here I'm given that as private, right? So outside the class, if we want to access those data member, I want to have getter method, right? So I will create a getter method for that. Public method to check balance. So to check that after deposit and withdraw, we have to check the balance, right? So here for that balance I've made that as private. So to access those data members outside the class, we want getter method, right? So here I will create a getter method for that get balance. So how can we create a getter method? Using public, and the return type has to be double, because for that variable the double is a return type. So double is a return type, and the method name is get balance, and here the return type is double, so I have to return something. So I will return here balance. That's it. Okay, this is an example for encapsulation. As I told, encapsulation is nothing but the process of wrapping, this is data member, right? And these are methods, right, together in a single class. Okay, that process I called it as encapsulation, right? So this is an example. See, the process of wrapping data members and methods together in a single class or single unit, that process we call it as encapsulation. Okay, and I told its main use is to hide the data, right? So using that private keyword am I hiding the balance, and to access those data members, as I told, we have getter methods and setter methods. So using that getter method I'm accessing that balance. Okay, now in the different class I will create an object for that, and let's see how can we access and how can we deposit. So I have created one class with the name of bank account main. Here I will have main method, and I will create an object for bank account because those data members are present in this class, and the deposit method, withdraw method are in this class. To call those methods and to call those data member, the object creation has to be done for bank account. So I'll create an account, sorry, I will create an object for bank account. bank account, class name, reference name equal to new keyword, then bank account. Okay, why is it is showing red line means here I've created one constructor, and one parameterized constructor I have created. In that I'm passing one argument which is double initialization, so I have to pass that initial balance. So initial balance I will making it as 1000. Okay, here I've created a bank account object. In that constructor I'm passing some 1000, because here I have created one parameterized constructor with one argument which is double initial balance. So here I'm passing that value. Okay, now with that reference name, okay, these deposit method and withdraw method are not private, so that I can access with that reference name. But in this example, those getter method and setter methods are for accessing those data members, so that I can't access those data members directly. Okay, but here those deposit method and withdraw methods are not private, so the reference name only I can access those methods. Okay, first with that reference name account I'm depositing some amount which is 500, and later with that reference name I will withdraw some amount. Okay, I will withdraw some 300. Okay, first here I created one bank account object. In that I'm in the constructor I'm making the initial balance as 1000, and with that reference name I'm calling deposit method. But in the deposit method we are passing one argument which is double amount, so I'm declaring some amount as 500. And that with reference name I'm calling withdraw method, and in the withdraw method also I'm passing one argument which is double amount, so I'm declaring some amount as 300. Okay, we deposited 500 to the bank account, and we are withdrawing some 300. Okay, now with this getter method we will access that balance. Okay, so as I told, we can't access the data members directly, so with the getter method only we can access. Sorry, account dot get balance method, okay. See, with that reference name I'm calling that get balance method. Okay, now if I run this, see, first the initial balance was 1000, then after that I'm deposited 500, then the balance will be 1500. In that I'm withdrawing 300. So after that I'm accessing that balance method balance. So after that the balance will be 1200. Okay, in the real projects also, in the bank accounts we use this encapsulation only to secure the data. Okay, here like current current. Okay, that's it. Okay, this is how the encapsulation will work. Okay, here that balance are given as private, so that it can't be accessed together, and the and that deposit method I'm passing some amount. With that withdraw method I'm some withdrawing, and that with get balance method I'm accessing the balance. That's it. So here data is protected, validation is applied, and no one can access directly the balance, or no one can directly change the balance. Okay, this is how the encapsulation will work. It keeps data private, allow accessing using only public methods. Okay, those getter methods and setter methods, with that only I can access that balance. Okay, this is about encapsulation. Okay, in the real projects like in the bank accounts, the encapsulation will work like this. Okay, this is why we can't access the balance directly. Okay, this is about encapsulation. If you have any doubts with these two examples, you can ask me. Here if I give as -2, if I run this, it will become 0, because here I have given some condition like age has to be greater than 0 only. Okay, so here I am giving as -2, so it is printing as 0. Okay, it is validation is happening. See, after that the age is greater than 0, so that it is printing that age. Okay, this is about encapsulation, guys. The process of wrapping or binding both data members and methods together in a single class, we call that as encapsulation. Okay, the main agenda or use of encapsulation is data hiding or data security or data privacy. Okay, how can we make those data members as private? Means using private keyword. If you use the private keyword, it can be accessed only within the class. Okay, now if you want to access outside the class those data members or methods, in Java we have one concept called getter method and setter methods. With that we can access outside the class. Okay, this is about encapsulation. If you have any doubts regarding this encapsulation, you can ask me. Guys, up to here, if you have understood, just tell me, or else I can explain once again those that examples. Do I have to explain once again, or you guys have understood? Yeah. Yeah, this is about encapsulation. Tomorrow we'll start the second principle, which is an inheritance, and we will discuss about that tomorrow. Okay, those who are not attending the online meeting, daily basis I'm uploading in the YouTube, so that you can refer. Yeah, yesterday I told like I will send one program, right? Today I will show that in class only. Just tell me how the flow will work. Okay, see, here I have created one class with the name of program1, and I have created one static initializer, non-static initializer, and one constructor. And in the main method I have created two objects, and I'm printing the in the last line I'm printing that program to object reference. That's it. Now seeing this code, just tell me how the output flow will be there. Just think and tell me. I discussed about static initializer and non-static initializer, and when it will be loaded. Okay, I'm discussed about all those. Just seeing this example, just tell me how the output flow will be there. Just think and tell me. Just seeing this code, you can just tell how the code will execute. how the flow of the code will execute. Yes, anyone? By seeing this, you can just tell. Yeah, anyone? I discussed about static initializer and non-static initializers. Then constructor also you guys know. Just here I'm in the program. I just created a static initializer, a non-static initializer, and one constructor, and I'm creating two objects. That's it. Okay. Now you should tell me how the output flow will come. Like first, which will execute. After that, which will execute. You should tell me. Guys, anyone? No one. No. I will only explain. See. Now if I run this, see. First static initializer is executing because as I told, whenever the class is loaded, first the static initializer will execute so that it is executing. After that the JVM starts from main method, right? So here in the 23rd line I am creating an object for program 1, and I told those non-static initializers will execute before the constructor calls. Okay, this constructor, okay, before the constructor calls, those non-static initializer is executing. See here executing. After that, object creation is happening, right? Whenever the object creation is happening, the constructor will automatically call. So after that, constructor is calling. See here. Okay, now the 23rd line is over. Then after that, in the 24th line, again I am creating an object for again I am creating an object. Then before the constructor calls, static non-static initializer is calling, and after object creation, that constructor is automatically calling. See automatically calling, and then that 25th line I am just printing the object object reference name. So for that it is printing some address. That's it. Okay, this is how the output flow will be there. We know about that static and non-static initializer, right? So this is what is happening. Static initializers are executing when the class is loaded. So before the class loads, the static initializers are executing, and the non-static initializers are executing before the constructor calls. Okay, so that non-static initializers are executing first. After that object creation, that constructor is calling. Okay, this you have to remember. Yeah, okay, if you understood about that encapsulation, you guys can leave. This is for today. Tomorrow we'll start about second principle, which is inheritance. Yeah, thank you guys. This is for today. Whoever are not attending the online meeting, you can just refer in the YouTube. Daily basis I'm uploading. Yeah, thank you.